All right, if you're a man over 30, listen up. There's a conversation your body is starting to have that you really need to be a part of. We're talking about testosterone, and in the next few minutes, we're going to give you a straightforward, no-hype guide to understanding it and what you can actually do about it.
Does any of this sound familiar? You hit your 30s, maybe your mid-30s, and you just feel different. Like, the energy tank isn't quite as full, motivation is a little harder to come by, and maybe you notice it takes longer to recover from, well, anything. I'm here to tell you, you are not imagining it. There's a very real biological reason for this shift, and we're about to get right into it.
And here it is. This is the number that explains so much. Once you pass age 30, a man's testosterone levels, on average, decline by about 1% every single year. Now that might sound a little scary, but here's the most important part. This is a natural process. And even more importantly, it's something you can absolutely influence. You're not just a passenger here.
Now, before we go any further, let's get on the same page about what we're even talking about. Testosterone isn't just about building muscle or sex drive. It's a foundational steroid hormone that really dictates everything from your bone density and your energy levels to your overall mood and even your focus. It is a massive player in your total well-being. So what's actually happening under the hood? Before we can talk about fixing things, we kind of have to understand the body's operating system. So let's dig into the why behind this natural decline. It really boils down to two main things. First, you've got this hormonal command center. It's a feedback loop between your brain and testes. As you get older, the signals from the brain telling the testes to get to work, well, they just don't shout as loudly. And second, the Leydig cells. Think of them as the actual testosterone factories down in the testes. They become less responsive and there are fewer of them. It's basically a classic supply chain slowdown. But here is the good news, and it's really good news. You are not powerless against this. So let's open up your Natural T Toolkit. These are the powerful lifestyle levers you can pull starting today to optimize your hormonal health. The absolute foundation of everything is what you eat. Here's the core idea. Your body literally makes testosterone from cholesterol. That's why healthy fats from things like olive oil, avocados, and whole eggs are just non-negotiable. Then you add in key minerals like zinc, which is a crucial helper molecule for production, and magnesium, which helps make more of your testosterone active and usable. And on the flip side, processed junk, sugar, and too much alcohol are absolute hormone killers. And if you want to see just how bad sugar is, look at this. This chart shows what happens after someone drinks a sugary beverage. Research shows that a single dose of 75 grams of sugar can cause testosterone levels to plummet by up to 25% in just 2 hours. Why? Because that sugar spike causes a massive insulin surge, and insulin basically sends a memo to your command center telling it to shut down production. It's a direct hormonal blow.
Okay, next tool in the kit, training. But it's got to be the right kind of training. Lifting heavy with big, multi-joint exercises like squats and deadlifts, that directly stimulates that hormonal command center we talked about. It's a powerful signal to produce more T. Same goes for short, intense bursts of effort like sprints. But, and this is a huge but, you have to avoid burnout. Overtraining does the exact opposite. It floods your system with the stress hormone cortisol, which absolutely crushes testosterone.
Which brings us to this crucial concept, the testosterone to cortisol ratio. Just think of them as being on opposite ends of a seesaw. When cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is high, testosterone is low, and vice versa. Chronic stress from work, life, or overtraining keeps that cortisol side pinned to the ground, suppressing your T levels. Your goal is to manage that stress and keep this ratio in a healthy anabolic balance. And you cannot talk about cortisol without talking about sleep. Get ready for this number, because it is staggering. Just 1 week, 7 days, of sleeping only 5 hours a night can slash your testosterone levels by 10 to 15%. Let that sink in. That's like aging yourself hormonally by a decade in a single week. So why is sleep so non-negotiable? It's simple, really. The vast majority of your daily testosterone gets produced during deep sleep and REM sleep. When you cut your sleep short, you are literally cutting your production short. It also weakens the brain's signals to the testes. And this is why conditions like sleep apnea are so devastating for hormones. They wreck your sleep quality and lower your oxygen levels, hitting production with a double whammy. All right, let's talk about supplements. This is an area that's just filled with a ton of marketing hype and wild promises. So we're going to cut through all of that noise with a clear, science-based approach. What might actually work, and what is probably just a waste of money. Before you even think about buying some fancy herbal blend, start here. With vitamin D.
It's so important that many scientists now consider it to be a steroid hormone, not just a vitamin. And here's the proof. Your testicular cells have specific docking stations or receptors just for vitamin D. That tells you it has a direct role to play. Since so many people are deficient, getting your levels checked is the smartest first step you can take.
Now, for all those popular herbs you see everywhere, this table really gives you the bottom line. You've got ashwagandha and fenugreek, which have some moderate evidence, often related to lowering stress or helping with libido. But then you look at something like tribulus, and the evidence is pretty weak, especially in healthy humans. The key takeaway is to be a smart consumer and separate the marketing claims from what the actual science supports.
Now we need to talk about the medical option, testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT. And let me be crystal clear here. This is a serious medical intervention. It is a last resort for a diagnosed medical condition, not a lifestyle hack or a quick fix for feeling a little tired. TRT is only for men who have been clinically diagnosed with something called hypogonadism, and the bar for that diagnosis is very specific. It requires at least 2 separate morning blood tests showing your levels are below that 300 ng per dl mark, and you have to have the accompanying symptoms. It's not based on a feeling, it's a confirmed medical issue.
For those who do get that diagnosis, there are a few ways to administer it. Injections are common, but they can cause these hormonal peaks and valleys that might lead to mood swings. Gels give you a much more stable daily level, but you run the risk of transferring it to a partner or child through skin contact. And patches, while they offer a steady release, can cause a lot of skin irritation. Each method has a pretty significant trade-off that has to be discussed with a doctor.
And this is exactly why it's such a serious decision. The potential risks are significant and must be managed closely by a doctor. We're talking about effects on your prostate health, a potential increased risk for things like heart attacks and blood clots, and a whole host of other possible side effects, including permanent infertility. This is simply not a path to be taken lightly.
So, we end right back where we started, with your toolkit. Understanding all of this is one thing, but taking action is everything. From the food on your plate to the quality of your sleep, the power to build a lifestyle that supports your hormonal health is truly in your hands. The only question left is, which tool will you pick up first?